right, so what we're doing today is kind of an ambitious project. We're going to actually write an online profile. I have the crew from Las Vegas Immersion, and I'm getting all the ideas from them. We're going to try and write an online profile in under 2 hours and put it together. Hopefully it'll be a lot faster than that with all the collective input. What we've done so far is I had them make a list of a bunch of male characters that they found to be intriguing, interesting, good with girls, guys they'd like to emulate. And then we've looked up quotes from those characters. Those quotes are going to form the meat of what we're going to put in the profile, and then I'm going to show you how to put those quotes together and structure the profile to make it good. All right? All right. Who has good quotes so far?
I don't know if this is good for the profile or not, but if I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client.
Okay.
Kind of badass.
Okay. If I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client.
From Robert Downey Jr.
Cool.
Not second quote, but
What else? What else we got? Yeah.
The morning of awkwardness is far better than the night of loneliness.
That's Hank Moody, huh? Morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness. Okay. What else we got?
I'll do anything for a woman with a knife. James Bond.
I'll do anything for a woman with a knife. Now that one I might put the quote because it gives it better context. Okay. What else?
I found a kind of long one from Russell Brand.
Okay.
I like threesomes with 2 women, not because I'm a cynical sexual predator, but because I'm a romantic. I'm looking for the one, and I'll find her more quickly if I audition 2 at a time.
Yep. Okay. Not because I'm a cynical sexual predator, but because I'm a romantic.
I'm looking for the one, and I'll find her more quickly if I audition 2 at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, just say it.
What else we got? Yeah.
Thanks, Woody, again, but I probably won't go down in history, but I'm going to go down on your sister.
Awesome. Do you know I had both of those in my profile once upon a time? Yeah. Actually, I said I won't go down in history, but I will go down on you. Because the sister thing I modified. But yeah. Okay, so I probably won't go down in history, but I will go down on your sister. What else we got? Yeah.
I found why did the Leonardo DiCaprio and Zac Efron, they're more like, I guess, the romantic type. He's like, this is Zac Efron. He's like, I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, but of course I believe in 2 people having chemistry right away. A girl should be really easy to talk to. When I lose track of time because we've been talking, I think that's really fun.
Again, of course I believe in 2 people having chemistry together.
Of course I believe in 2 people having chemistry right away.
Right away, okay.
A girl should be really easy to talk to when I lose track of time because we've been talking. I think that's really fun.
Okay.
There was one by Marilyn Manson. It's not necessarily about women, but it said people tend to associate people that look differently and behave differently with criminal or illegal activity. I don't know if that has any relevance, but I thought it was a good one with sneaking out and standing out.
Okay. Okay, we have probably about half to 2/3 as much as I would like to get going with. But what I'd start looking at here is what leads to general premise. So something like a morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness. That conveys attitude towards women. I like threesomes thing. That's good because it's kind of a it sort of like gives you this whole idea of like being a player, but being a player in like a sweet way. So that's good. If I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client is good. At least something like that. The idea of being the bad boy. That's good. Go down in history. Go down on your sister. Okay, so this one right here. I don't know if I believe in love at first sight. This one right here, I would use. sort of after a few really like off the wall, like crazy hard hitting ones. Okay, so I wouldn't lead with something like that because it's very boring. Like a lot of guys are leading with that and it will never ever work because it just won't let you stand out from the crowd. But if you're like saying all this really offensive, ridiculous shit and then you need to bring it back down, that's a really good one for that. So I would put that somewhere like in the middle of the profile, have that little like moment of sincerity. So that's where I would use that. My grandpappy was a pimp. His grandpappy was a pimp. I like this, but I wouldn't use the word pimp. We'll change the word probably. We'll say like was attractive, or was a winner, or was something like that, or was a flirt, something like that. Just tone it down just a little bit. Because if you say literally pimp, it's like a little too much bragging. But the idea of my poppy was this, my grandpappy was this, I come from a long line of whatever. Like I might say like something like that. I might say like, you may find me cocky, but I come by it naturally. My grandfather was cocky, my great-grandfather was cocky, but it doesn't mean X, Y, Z. And actually that would be really good before maths, right? Because then you go into like the moment of realness. Does that make sense? So that's what you're looking for. The way I would usually structure a profile would be at first you want to grab their attention, right? You have to get their attention. If you don't have that, you have nothing, right? Most guys, their profile will never be looked at. And think of this, by the way, when you're thinking of this, think of this the same as cold approach. You have to get their attention first, right? And then you can convey your personality. So first get their attention, and so you want to hit them with some hard-hitting stuff. It doesn't matter if they're a little offended as long as they're intrigued enough to read more. And then once you've offended them, intrigued them, made them laugh a couple times, even if they think you're out there, then that's when you can be more genuine and you actually have an audience. And that's when you could say like the Zac Efron thing, which is that sort of thing, right? And or like the Leonardo DiCaprio one, which is the I'm tired of being treated like a piece of meat, that kind of thing. Also think about the frames in some of these. Okay, so this is how we're going to use some of these. Which of these do you think is interesting or offensive to like grab someone's attention? Which do you think is the best way to grab someone's attention out of these? What about threesomes? Okay. Going down on your sister? Yeah? Okay. I can see that. Which is the second one? A morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness? Okay, cool. Yeah, these are all good. These are all good as attitudes towards women. What I would do probably, I would actually disagree with most of you in terms of the one to use first. Even though those are shocking, they're like shocking, but you're leading with sex kind of, and you're leading with like, it's like you're trying to be shocking and you're putting that out there. The one I would put first is probably this one actually. Because it kind of makes you intriguing as a person first, and then you can get into like philosophy and that kind of stuff. Because the thing that makes, this one's just shocking like on the surface. The other ones are more like, it's an attitude and a philosophy, and you have to think about the underlying philosophy to understand why it's shocking. So it doesn't quite hit you the same way. And it only works, it's kind of like, it's more about you and it's more personal. So starting with it doesn't work quite as well.
It's also super mysterious. Like that can mean so many different things. Like the first one, like, oh, your own best client. Are you like some crazy guy that gets into trouble? Are you, like a felon? Are you an adventurer? Like, so many different things.
Okay, so we have this one first. If I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client. That's good. Then we have, I guess, categories, right? So we have philosophy, which is all these. This is another one that's about you specifically. So we'll put this one up here as well. Right, my grandpappy was a pimp. His grandpappy was a pimp. That's more about you personally. This is more about you as well. The like, I just feel like a piece of meat. That speaks to like how you've been treated in the past. So that's a different category. So I put that in the second category. And then we have people tend to associate. This one is interesting. It is kind of off topic. I would say may or may not use, but we'll keep it in here for now. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so right now, what do we have here? We have a couple things about yourself. We have a couple things about philosophy. Here's what we're really missing. Whoa. Wow. I kind of want to go out there right now. Okay, so for this last category, I'll actually just have you guys brainstorm without quotes first, and then maybe we'll look for quotes, maybe we'll be genuine. What are you, if you guys were to throw out things, what would you be looking for in a girl? What would be the characteristics you would honestly be looking for? Okay.
savvy.
Okay. What? Intelligent? Okay. What else? What? Tits and ass? Okay. What else? I like it. I'm putting it. I'm using it. Sense of humor? All right. Anything else? Things you look for in girls?
Feminine polarity.
Okay.
Doesn't take yourself too seriously.
Low maintenance.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so right here we have the makings of a pretty decent profile. So we have who you are a little bit. We're going to need to flesh it out a little bit. We have this how women perceive me thing, which is a good thing. We may need something else there. We have philosophy, and then we have a couple of them genuine, mostly not. And then we have the what I'm looking for in a girl. This is going to take some work because we don't have anything like clever or creative. So right now this is just like a sea of cliches. All right, but we're going to turn this into not a sea of cliches. The way we're going to do that is the same way that you would pass shit tests, which is agree and exaggerate, take it to its logical conclusion, misinterpret it in different ways. So we're going to say the same exact cliche things, but in more interesting ways. So that's the step with that, okay? So let's go to an actual profile. Okay, so we'll start with the first lines. The whenever, hang on. If I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client. Okay, now if you were to say that to a girl, what's she probably thinking at this moment? Mischievous, dangerous, arrogant, possibly. Cool, okay. So it's a good start. If I was a lawyer, I'd be my own best client. Now, what's good about that? What's bad about that?
It can be a bit try hard,
Try hard, bad, okay. Could be bad. You could literally be that. Like, you could be a criminal.
Yeah.
You could be really amazing and funny and cool, or you could be a little bit try hard, right?
If you didn't have like the lifestyle to really like support that claim though, then it would be more like try hard and you weren't like that guy. That profile. So
first thing I would do, tone it down just slightly. I'll say probably, just to tell you, if I was a lawyer, I'd probably be my own best client. You may think that's cocky, or actually a better word, there's got to be a better word than cocky. You may think that's not even like, I was going to say like something like dangerous, something like that. Okay, hang on. You may find that frightening or intimidating. That's fair. Some girls just can't keep up. Okay, so now it's extremely arrogant. All right? So now, because you know it's arrogant, now I'm gonna apologize for being arrogant a little bit. But I'm gonna apologize and be even more arrogant. Okay? I'm not actually that cocky. It's just that my granddaddy, how does it go? My grandpappy, whatever. And again, I'm going to change pimp to charmer just because I'm going for like a more classy thing. And then you might add like a little bit of personal philosophy on this. So just to tone it down. What I would add here personally is something that, this is a quote from Frank Abagnale, if you know who that is. He said like, basically you can get away with anything in the world if you do it with a touch of class. Something like that. So I'm gonna add that in as like a way to like ground it and make it more real, but again, be even more arrogant. So what I'm doing with this second little bit, so the first part is just straight arrogant. It's just like, fuck you, I'm arrogant in your face. The next part is I realize that's arrogant. Now I'm gonna be even more arrogant. And then after I've done that, once I've like hit them over the head with value, and hopefully they're just like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm not trying to make anybody like me right now, but I am trying to get them to say, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm gonna get them to make me like get them to keep reading. That's all I'm going for right now, right? Okay, cool. I might even like put in a wink here. Okay, so here's what we have so far. If I was a lawyer, I'd probably be my own best client. You may find that intimidating. That's fair. Some girls just can't keep up. Super cocky. I'm not actually that cocky. It's just that my grandpappy was a charmer, his grandpappy was a charmer. I've found that anything in life gets a little better if you add a touch of class. I'm gonna get rid of a little. It gets better if you add a touch of class. Just reads better. So that's what we have so far. So right now you probably have their attention. All right? They probably think you're an arrogant asshole, but you probably have their attention. So you're off to a good start. Now the next thing to do is be a little bit, you can go one of two ways. You want to let them know you a little bit. And so there's a couple different kind of get to know you things in here. There's the threesomes thing, there's the like morning of awkwardness thing, that kind of stuff. And then there's the one that's I don't believe in love at first sight, but I do believe in connection, okay? Now my philosophy with this, you guys know game, and in game generally it's like value first and then comfort. That's how you generally want to do it. So what I want to do here is transition from this arrogant stuff to the blatantly arrogant. I understand that I'm being arrogant, but I'm still going to do it. And then here's a little bit about me that's still arrogant, but at least I'm letting you get to know me. And then it's going to be, here's my soft underbelly. Right? So it's this transition of getting to know you. So that's the way I'm going to transition these quotes. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I would say, yeah.
Is it too much of a contrast though if you start out with that and then like really go like deep connection, like oh like I want to get to know a girl like this, or like maybe like a spiritual type of girl, or you know somebody like could you go completely like opposite, or so you can make that big contrast?
You definitely could. I mean, if you put the I don't believe in love at first sight, that quote right here, yeah. I could see that working for sure. And the reason it would work is because it's good. Mostly because it's good material. I don't think it's like the ideal structuring, but it definitely would work. And if you did that, what you'd have to do is follow it up with more cocky afterwards to like make sure that like again, what you want to avoid online is cliche. Because if you do it as an exercise, if you ever to like look through other guys' profiles and look at what people are writing, it's all this kind of stuff. It all looks like this. I want someone who's savvy and intelligent, has a good head on her shoulders, and like I'm looking for love at first sight and a genuine connection. You know what I mean? That's what everybody's saying. So I want to avoid that as long as possible. I do want to have that a little bit to give girls like that like idea of like something could happen, this could be real. But I don't want to do that too early because as soon as a girl starts reading that, she'll get bored because she's been reading that in other profiles. You see what I'm saying?
Also structure it maybe in a way where it's blended a little more as opposed to one drastic, crazy, cocky, confident to like I just want a nice sweet girl.
Yeah.
Even if and just write it in a way that's also
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could do it that way. I'm gonna stick with this way, but you definitely, as long as the material's good, the order you can tweak the order a little bit. But the big thing with that is I want to put that later because I don't want to be boring. Like they've only read like maybe 3 or 4 sentences. They don't know me that well. I want to avoid boring at all costs at this moment. Okay, so next thing is this. I'll do anything for a woman with a knife. I'm actually gonna put that in the what I'm looking for in a girl section. Because I think it's more about that and because we're short in that section. So we're going to take that and put that down here. And we're actually going to keep it as a quote for him. Okay, so we have a morning of awkwardness is better than a night of loneliness. I think that's good. This is kind of cheating because I happen to know the Hank Moody thing, but these two went close together, and I'm going to put them close together again. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do with this. So morning of awkwardness is better than a night of loneliness. I probably won't go down in history, but I will go down in your sister. If you just said those blatantly, they'd be very out of context. It'd be like, where did this just come from, right? If there's ever something you want to put in that you can't figure out a way to do it, one really good way is just create a list. Just be like, I've realized these 2 things in life, and then just list the funny shit, right? So here, these are really good. You'd like to get them in there, but there's no context for them. They're really out of place. So what I'm going to do with that is this. I'm going to say, in my dating life, I've come to a few controversial certainties. Or controversial realizations is good. And then we'll say 1, a morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness. And then 2, I probably won't go down in history, but I will go down on your sister. Now this one, I will maybe tone down. I will say when I had this exact line in a profile before, I had will go down on you, and I actually kind of prefer it that way. So I'm actually going to change that one just to soften it, because right now it's pretty fucking extreme. So I think we're actually over the line of like what is too extreme. And the thing is, you can be extreme with sexual, you can be extreme with like in your face, but if you go extreme with sex per se too early in the profile, then you just come across as that guy. Because that's the other error that a lot of guys make. A lot of guys make the too boring. A lot of guys also make the like, let's just fuck kind of profiles. And so you want to kind of like steer away from that. So that's why I'm gonna take it away from I'll go down on your sister to I will go down on you, which I think is a little softer, yeah.
You would do 2, because both of those are very sexual quotes. You would do 2 of those back to back, or maybe mix it. You don't think that's like overkill?
If I had more material to work with, I might. But since we're working with this, I'm just gonna go with this way. But yeah, but I'm gonna change to on you to on your sister on you. So let's do this. All right. Now, what's the girl thinking right now? I'm about to write it, but what's the girl thinking right now?
Arrogant motherfucker.
Yeah, arrogant motherfucker, total asshole. Funny probably, but like I don't trust him, not going anywhere, that sort of thing, right? So if that's what she's thinking, why don't we pace and lead that? Why don't we like say, okay, you probably think I'm an asshole. You're right. Sure, why not? You're right, sort of. Okay, so again, soften it just a little bit. And now we're going to use this one here. Now this one I might actually give credit on. This is another idea. This is back in the day of like speed seduction, NLP, that kind of stuff. There was this idea of quotes, which was if you're going to say something super offensive or that's like super risque that you might not get away with, a good way to do it is quote it as someone else. Now, fortunately, this is actually a quote from someone else. So what we can say here is I'm actually going to quote and attribute this to Russell Brand because like the threesome thing makes a lot of sense for him because we know he's a guy that has a lot of threesomes. And if you were to say it about yourself, then it's bragging. But the fact of the matter is because you're attributing this in your profile, you're kind of putting yourself in that same category, but in a non-braggy way if you attribute it to him. Okay? So, so I'm right, sort of. So what I'm going to do here is attribute. I don't know the best way to attribute, though. In order to explain, I'd like to share a quote from, how do you spell Russell, 1 L or 2? 2. So in order to explain, I'd like to share a quote from Russell Brand. I like threesomes with 2 women, not because I'm a cynical sexual predator, but because I'm a romantic. I'm looking for the one, and I'll find her more quickly if I addition 2 at a time. And then here is where I'll use this one. I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, et cetera, et cetera. So now I'm going to bring it together and be like the nice, sweet man. Right? So now I'm bringing the whole personality together and showing you how it all comes. So we'll take this. All right, so here's what we have so far. If I was a lawyer, I'd probably be my own best client. You may find that, hang on. Actually, I'm going to make this a separate line. You may find that intimidating. That's fair. Some girls just can't keep up. I'm not actually that cocky. It's just that my grandpappy was a charmer, his grandpappy was a charmer, and I found that anything in life gets better if you add a touch of class. In my dating life, I've come to a few controversial realizations. 1, a morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness. 2, I probably won't go down in history, but I will go down on you. You probably think I'm an asshole. You're right, sort of. In order to explain, I'd like to share a quote from Russell Brand. I like threesomes with 2 women, not because I'm a cynical sexual predator, but because I'm a romantic. I'm looking for the one, and I'll find her more quickly if I audition 2 at a time. I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, but of course I believe in 2 people having chemistry right away. A girl should be really easy to talk to. When I lose track of time because we've been talking, I think that's really fun. All right? So now we have that sort of like crazy asshole, but just possibly attainable package. We've created that, and definitely like not boring, right? We've done anything in the world but be boring. So if a girl's reading this, she may not like you, but she's definitely going to keep reading. So that's the idea of what we're creating here. Okay, now we're going to go on to this next section, which is ideally maybe we'd have 1 or 2 more sentences in here. So if you guys had more time to brainstorm, maybe we'd throw a couple more things in here. But it's good as it is. It gets a general message across, and the general message is pretty good. Okay. Also, if you happen to, this would be a good place as well, if you happen to have something personal, right? If you happen to have like some sort of personal thing that you're really into, like a hobby or a passion or something like that, this would be a good time to share that. Because now she's kind of gotten to know you, she's gotten to know you as a personality, and this is like the generic attractive man personality, but it would be cool if she got to see something unique or interesting about you. So this would be the point. You've already kind of like, you've earned it by being like funny and like arrogant and getting her attention. You've earned that moment of letting her get to know you, and she'll appreciate it at this point. So that would be a good time for that. Again, because I'm kind of brainstorming with the group and you guys will have different life stories, we'll leave that out for now. And it'll be good enough. It'll definitely get a reaction and get a response without that. But it would be even better if this was the part where you take a couple sentences and add something about your unique passion or your unique life. So she feels like she actually knows you. So she's not just dealing with this sort of like blank canvas of attractive man, but she's dealing with this canvas of attractive man that she can like, when she talks to her friends, she'd be like, oh, he's a photographer, or oh, he's a passionate whatever, or whatever. So she has like a way to categorize you in her head. So that would be a good thing to throw in here as well. Okay, but for now we're gonna skip that. And we'll go on to the last little bit, which is what are you looking for in a girl? And there are probably better ways to do this, but because I'm doing this quickly for now, I'm just gonna write what I'm looking for in you. And then just categorize it. Actually, we're gonna do it here, because this site has it. So actually it says you should message me if. So we'll put the what I'm looking for in a girl here, okay? So you should message me if. Okay, so now we're looking at these characteristics for a girl. Okay, so what are some different ways of saying you have a good head on your shoulders? How could we make that more interesting, more funny? Any ideas? Huh? Good head on your shoulders, it means like you're intelligent, you're like rational, you're not like crazy, that kind of thing. Any better ways to say that?
You're not batshit crazy.
You're not batshit crazy? That's better. Still cliche though. How can we be even more interesting than that? Think like specifics. Yeah.
You're crazy, but not batshit crazy.
Good. There you go. So see how we took like the most boring thing and we make it like a little more interesting, take it a little bit more interesting, and now it's workable. What else do we have? Socially savvy, intelligent, knows what she wants out of life. What else? How can we do this? Give me another one. Let's look at low maintenance. By the way, low maintenance is one that every guy says. I don't like putting it in profiles very much because most of the time when a guy says I want a girl to be low maintenance, what he actually means is I'm butthurt and I can't handle a girl who like is actually high maintenance, right? Because most of the time like the really hot girls are a bit high maintenance, and so when a guy says I want a girl to be low maintenance, it usually comes across as like I can't handle really hot girls, so I want a girl who's just like cute and down home. But if we were to say low maintenance, one good way to do this, so exaggerate, take it to the extreme. The other is phrase it in the positive. What would it look like? What's the extreme example of her not being low maintenance? Like you don't take 12 hours to get ready. Your hair didn't cost more than my car. Shit like that. Like let's take like the extreme version of it. So what do we got for that? What's a good way to say low maintenance or not crazy high maintenance? Again, I don't want to be generating this. I want to get it from you guys. Okay. You don't take 5-hour expensive shopping trips. We have to be very specific. Whenever we're talking about making things funny, it's always the specifics, right? So when you say like, you don't spend a lot of money on your appearance, that's too vague. But if you say that thing, your hair didn't cost more than my car, that's, less vague. That's specific, and so that makes it interesting and funny.
Like you only buy 2 pairs of shoes a month or something like that.
Sure. Sure, okay. We'll say your shoe budget does not exceed 6 figures. Something like that, right? So the extreme. Again, just fucking take it to the extreme. What else? What else do we got? Okay, so how about, so tits and ass is a good one. And this is good because it wraps it all up with making it asshole again, right? So it's asshole, nice, get to know you, and then we're gonna make it ass again, or make it asshole again. It's just something, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but something along those lines. So, and you need tits and an ass. Sorry, if I was looking for a friend, I'd join a bowling league or something like that, right? As opposed to like, I'm not looking for friends in online dating, I need you to be sexy. Or actually, I could go even further than that. Sorry, hey, this is better. I don't always think with my dick, but it does get an occasion, get a veto maybe, or it does get a vote, something like that.
Would
All right.
the website like identify the word dick?
Huh? Sometimes. What you look at it afterwards and see if it won't let you do it, then you can do D *****, or you can change it, right? You can change it to penis or something like that, or whatever. So you can always change it after the fact, but just write it well first and then let them edit it after. Yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and you do need tits and an ass. Sorry, I don't always think with my dick, but I'll say it does get a vote. That's probably easier. Okay, so again, bringing it back asshole at the end. Okay. That's fine. Sure, does get a say. Fair enough. All right. Okay, we need one or two more of these bringing it together kind of things. What else do we have? Let's say sense of humor. Actually, let's do knows what she wants in life. How can you say that? How can you say that in either like a funny extreme way or a... Yeah, cool. Sure, that's fine. Yeah. You don't... All right. Okay. Fine. Here we go. They'll make it at you, and here we go. There you go. You don't work at Waffle House and have a credit card bill that rivals the national debt. Does that work? Okay. And I'm glad that I can spell too. That's good. Okay. Clear sign of intelligence. I should put like you're intelligent with your misspelled just cause. Okay. And then if you really want to, you can tie it up with something genuine, either here or after it. I would say maybe here. Be genuine, be like, okay. So we just add that in as one little bit of genuineness. Okay, so if we were to read the whole profile, here's how it reads. If I was a lawyer, I'd probably be my own best client. You may find that intimidating, that's fair. Some girls just can't keep up. I'm not actually that cocky, it's just that my grandpappy was a charmer, his grandpappy was a charmer, and I found that anything in life gets better if you add a touch of class. In my dating life, I've come to a few controversial realizations. 1, a morning of awkwardness is far better than a night of loneliness. 2, I probably won't go down in history, but I will go down on you. I don't like the probably, but we'll leave it for now. You probably think I'm an asshole. You're right, sort of. In order to explain, I'd like to share a quote from Russell Brand. I like threesomes with 2 women, not because I'm a cynical sexual predator, but because I'm a romantic. I'm looking for the one, and I'll find her more quickly if I addition 2 at a time. I don't know if I believe in love at first sight. Hang on, you could actually do this. You could do this on a more serious note. It's repeated. Yeah, that's fine for now. I mean, we're not writing for a Pulitzer Prize. We're writing to catch attention, so I don't care that much. But on a more serious note, I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, but of course I believe in two people having chemistry right away. A girl should be really easy to talk to. So when I lose track of time because we've been talking, I think that's really fun, right? So that leaves it genuine. And again, like, then we'd put here, personal detail. Just to make it more human. And then we go to, you should message me if you're crazy but not batshit crazy. We can even number them, just since they are kind of, like they're kind of out of context. So numbering them again, like I did above, it makes it so that you don't have to read them coherently. So it saves you the hassle of transitions. Right, so a lot of times it's hard to like write that transition, so you just number it instead, make it easier on yourself. Okay, so you're crazy but not batshit crazy. You don't work at Waffle House and have a credit card bill that rivals national debt. And then we go 3, your shoe budget does not exceed 6 figures. I really don't care that much about resume, etc. Or I'd say I actually, instead of I really. I actually don't care that much about resume, etc. Just be cool, okay? Oh, and you do need tits and an ass. Sorry, I don't always think with my dick, but it does get a say. And done. Okay, now, what you have here is a profile that will get a girl's attention, will definitely get read, will make her say what the fuck, and will probably elicit some sort of response. I would guess with a profile like this, you're gonna put it out there and you'll get, even if you don't start, the test of a good profile is you put it out there and without like garnering attention, without writing messages, you'll start getting certain girls saying like, who the fuck are you? Or like, that's the funniest thing I ever read, or you're a total asshole. Any of those, but you start getting random messages without sending anything out. If you start getting that, you're in good shape. And that's when you know that you're good. And then obviously you want to tweak it. So I'd say come back at this, look at it in like a few days and tweak it. Look at it if another week later and tweak it, and keep trying to make it a little bit better. I'd say after about 4 or 5 tweaks, you'll get it really, really tight. But this is like a good rough draft, and it would get you a result. And we wrote it in, I don't know, an hour, something like that.
So it's just like having a passive thing.
Essentially, yeah, you have this thing, and especially once you have some messages that you send on a regular basis, then you just copy and paste the messages and you get your responses and then go from there. And if your messaging game, text game is any good at all, you just get like a steady stream of girls. Now, all of them won't be hot, all of them won't be amazing, but some of them will. And you have the nice option of not going out with the ones that aren't. So it works pretty nicely. Cool. Awesome. Any questions on any of that? Yes, I do. Okay, let's look at some of these messages. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste this stuff. I'm actually going to keep it not as my profile. I'll keep my old profile up, but I'm actually going to save this, and I'll test this out as a profile at some point. I'll let you know how it goes. Let's see. Okay. So I'll show you guys some of the messaging I did when I was in Sydney. Let me see real fast, make sure my profile went back to what it was before. Okay, cool. By the way, just so you guys know, here's my current profile as well. It follows a lot of the same formats, but you guys can hear it just as another example of what a good profile is. This one's based a lot on the Twitter account, Goldman Sachs Elevator. Which is like, the premise is it's like random douchey finance stuff overheard while in the elevator in the Goldman Sachs building. So I took a lot of those quotes and used it in this. So this one says, whenever someone asks how I'm doing, I usually just lie and say good, even though I'm doing a lot better than that. I guess that's a bit cocky, eh? I may appear arrogant and unattainable, that's because I am. But I'm also a hopeless romantic who believes that passionate love can be like a shooting star, a spectacular moment of light in the heavens, a fleeting glimpse of eternity. Just an ambitious guy trying to find a balance between fighting enough to be rewarded in life and fighting so hard that I don't enjoy the life I've earned. I don't know everything, but here are a few observations I've come to in my life. 1, if you're not dead to at least one person, you're not living right. 2, most hot girls will never know if they're actually interesting or not. And 3, money can't buy happiness, but it solves 95% of the problems that make you unhappy. One day you'll be on the wrong side of the hourglass and the skin around your eyes will start looking like Hugh Hefner's ball sack. When that day comes, you won't regret going out with that guy who is sexy and a little bit dangerous, but you might regret regretting it. Don't bother chastising me. I already know I'm going to hell, so at this point it's go big or go home. In the end, you have to decide. Do you want the mysterious, exciting man who's good in bed, or do you want a stable guy who goes to jury duty and shops at the Gap? It's about you. I say, I'll take a girl with a sharp wit, wits never sag, and there's no plastic surgery for the brain. Also, please don't contact you if you think fellatio is a Shakespearean protagonist, or if your personality is 30% the last movie you watched. Thanks. So that's another example of sort of a cocky asshole profile, but it has some of that, a little bit of genuineness, a little get to know you within it. Right? And actually, this one this is actually another one that I wrote in one draft, so it could be tweaked. The big thing that I would tweak is I would do the same thing I said in the profile we did, which is I'd include a personal detail or two that makes it not just the sort of bland, arrogant, attractive man, but actually personalizes it. Especially because my entire profile is written as the empty suit from Goldman Sachs. So it really needs that human touch, and that would probably make it a lot better. But again, that's an example of the same kind of profile. All right, so let's look at messages. OkCupid is free, or you can do it for free. I actually use a paid membership. It's like $8 a month or something, because it allows me to search more effectively. So for example, watch, if I do this, these things here, you can't do unless you pay. So you can do girls who like guys, age range, distance, and how long they were online, but I want to search by body type. And I also want to search by average attractiveness rating. So I pay $8 a month to be able to search that way and save myself some time. Also, because I outsource my messaging, I used to be an assistant in Africa. Now I just have random people who I had a $3 an hour personal assistant in Africa who sent the first messages for me. I sent them a list of messages, and they copy and pasted them. But because I was outsourcing it, and I couldn't tell them only message the cute ones, that's why I need to be able to sort by 5-star average, so that I can just say, maybe I don't think they're cute, but at least en masse, someone thought they were cute, so I won't be sending them to really horrendous looking girls. So that's why I do it that way. All right, let's look at some of these ones that actually ended up in dates. Also look at some of the ones that I've actually, okay. This is one. This one, I ended up leaving town before I was able to meet up with her, but it's a good example of texting, I think. All right, so the first one, haha, I'm flattered. I think we should get to know each other a bit better first. All right, the idea here, this is an interesting premise that I'm messing around with, which is assuming, write as though you're assuming they'd already messaged you, and let them react to it. The idea is they probably will be they'll call you out and be I never messaged you, but at least you're now in a dialogue, which is much better than silence. So this kind of message actually gets a very high response rate, but it gets a very negative response in general. So you have to be good at doing turnarounds. You have to be good at turning a bad reaction to a good one. But if you are, it's a good message. So she goes, huh, X. And then she reads my profile. She goes, I just read your profile. You're a brilliant man. And she's obviously not a brilliant woman based on her spelling of your. So that's what I wrote her. I'm your inability to spell your is troubling, but you seem pretty okay otherwise. Maybe we'll be brilliant together if you play your cards right. Okay. Now, the reason I send this is, first of all, she says, huh, which isn't positive, but she says, you're a brilliant man. That could be a compliment, or it could be a shit test. I'm not 100% sure. Right? So I'm kind of on the fence in between. I'm going to kind of treat it as a shit test and give her some shit back, and not give her too much. But if it's a compliment, it's a good opportunity to escalate and move the interaction forward. So I'm going to subtly hint at moving it forward, but also tease her pretty heavily. So I'm kind of playing both sides of the field on that one. And she goes, I can't believe you edited my spelling error. My best friend has a similar nervous tic with my messages. Very cute. Right? So now this is very positive. This is extremely positive. So when things are extremely positive, don't waste time. Get the close, get the number, get the date, don't fuck around. Okay, don't become their text message buddy where you send 50 texts back and forth, just get to the point. So this is extremely positive, it's time to close. So I say, thanks, you're kind of cute yourself. What's your view on drinks and witty banter with charming men? Okay, now I don't say, let's get together for a drink Tuesday at 7. I say this vague sort of half close, because if you go for too much at once, you're likely to hear the word no. If you go for a little bit, you'll hear yes, and then that'll make the next request easier and the next request easier. So I'd rather hear yes 3 times and take a little longer to get there than hear no once and take a really long time to get there. Okay? So this is a very soft close. So you're kind of cute yourself. What's your view on drinks and witty banter with charming men? Oh, you blush. I'm a supporter of charming men, banter and drinks, X. So again, very, very positive. Time to close some more. Sounds good to me. My number's this. What's yours? Todd. She says you first, Todd, and gives me her number.
What is that, Todd or City?
What? Sydney.
City.
Yeah, it's from basically when I was down in Australia. I messaged a bunch of girls because I had an assignment that I had to go on 3 dates to get material for my product. In the product, I actually go on dates with girls and I film them from like the message, conversation, the phone, the whole thing.
But what do they say when they see like your location is Las Vegas?
I changed my location to Sydney.
You do?
Huh?
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah. No need to fight uphill.
Okay.
As soon as I get them on the phone, they know I have an American accent anyway, so it comes up. But like, it's just better to like.
Because most
Be
of
there.
them like look for locals. Most of them.
Well, most of them are searching. Like they're searching based on a criteria. But actually, to be fair, I don't think most girls actually search. Most attractive girls are getting so many messages, they're not actually searching, they're just responding.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Although if they do look at your profile and see that, it could be off-putting. But a lot of times they'll just ask you, like, wait, aren't you from, do you not live here? And then you just, whatever. So not a big deal. Yeah. All right, so that's an example. That's one example of messaging. I'll show you guys one more, and then we'll turn it over to Matt. Let's look at this one. Okay, so this is, actually the same message, interestingly enough. I do send different messages. It just so happens that this one's the same one. So I'm like, haha, I'm flattered. I think we should get to know each other a bit better first. She goes, sorry, not sure what you mean. Don't think I messaged you before. Yeah, I have this. Yep, online messages. Copy paste. So yeah. All right. Usually what I do is I just take something that's intriguing to me and just try it. And if it works, I keep it. If it doesn't work, I throw it out. So right now I'm sending 5 or 6. And if I notice that I never seem to get a response on one of them, I'll throw it out and throw something else in the rotation. I just keep updating the rotation. Just throw out your worst one, throw something else in. Throw out your worst one, throw something else in. And just let it test that way. No. I borrowed a lot of them. Let's see. Let's look at these. So this is from Jeff. This is from my friend in New York. This is from some eCards. If you guys ever seen the little like eCard meme, someecards.com. This is I created myself. This I created myself. This I created myself. This I created myself with the inspiration of a student I had in Boston who did a lot of online game, but I did create it. This I created myself, kind of. I mean, it's based on a lot of game stuff. And then this, which I don't use very much, is based on a bad teenage romance movie. So yeah, a lot of these are actually my own. There are times when I've had ones that are mostly not my own though, and they've been very good as well. Again, things from movies, like another one that I had from a movie one time was like, let's fuck like Minx, raise Rugrats, and live happily ever after. That's from Basic Instinct, I think. Just anything that like intrigues you and you think might work, just test it. And if you're worried about like small market or you don't want to test it on like girls in your area or whatever, switch your profile to like New York City where there's 1 million girls, test it for a day. If it works, switch it back and start using it. All right, so you can test like free of charge, so to speak, without any risk.
Tom, can you use other websites other than OkCupid?
Yeah, I use OkCupid, Match, Plenty of Fish in this country. And then in other countries, different sites tend to be bigger or smaller, so sometimes I'll switch based on that.
Which one is your favorite?
Depends.
It depends on the city.
They have pros and cons. First of all, certain sites are better because they're paid, and certain sites are better because they're unpaid. The advantage of a site where you have to pay to be on the site and where women have to be paid on the site is that any girl who's on that site is very actively looking and very much wants to meet up. So it makes it very easy. The downside of paid memberships is most times the hot girls don't go on paid membership sites because it offends them the idea that they would pay to meet a guy. So they go on the free ones only. And they're like, oh, I'm just messing around. Oh, I don't really care. This is just fun, right? And then it can happen. So you tend to get slightly hotter girls, or maybe not hotter on average, but the hottest girls don't tend to go on the paid sites, interestingly enough, or the sites at least where women have to pay. So that's the pro and con. The other thing I look for in a site is how you're allowed to contact people. Is it a situation where they control who you can contact or not, which I hate. I want to be able to control who I contact myself. And then also, are you allowed to contact them without messaging them? Because a lot of times I like to just wink or just like show interest or whatever, and then like only message the ones that show interest back. But then if I have an assistant to message for me, then I just don't care. I just like outsource it and just send 1 million messages. But I'm not even copy and pasting. It takes too much time for me to send all my messages myself. If I have to like copy paste, I'm too lazy. So I'd rather just wink, 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 wink. It's easier, personally.
Now, what's your view on eHarmony? It seems it's more focused on relationships than like dating.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that site. Although, that said, it shouldn't theoretically be that bad, because what it would be is instead of having an extensive profile, your messages back and forth essentially become your profile, and you can have copy and paste messages, right? So once you've been asked every question like a couple times and come up with an answer you like, there's no reason it can't be fine to just copy paste and let it go. So again, it's just more passive income. You may as well use it, but I don't prefer it because you have less selection. But yeah, it's still like better to include it than not, but not my favorite site. Cool. All right, so let's look at one more example. So how I'm flattered. We should get to know each other better first. She goes, sorry, what do you mean? I don't think I messaged you before. In this case, what I did here is I looked at her profile, and she had this like extensive list of like accolades and attributes she was looking for in a man. So what I did is I just misinterpreted as though I had read her profile and it was about me. So I'm like, well, you described me in such glowing terms in your profile. Right, so that's how I passed that shit test. So now she gives me a real shit test. LOL, so this is your pickup line. Right? Now whenever you get a shit test online, don't try and do too much with it. Don't try and like be super cute and then ask a bunch of questions and do something long. What you do is just answer the shit test and leave it. Don't try and leave it easy for her to answer. Don't try and give her a lot. Don't try and make plans. Don't try and ask questions. Just trust that what you did is clever enough, witty enough, good enough that she's going to be tempted to write back. And put it this way. Have you ever had that situation where like a girl messages you and you take out your phone and look at it and then like write something and you put it away and take it out and put it away and it's not good enough and you can't figure out what to write and you kind of get like more invested in the girl because you took time writing? If you write back to shit tests and don't make it easy for them to respond, you give the girl the opportunity to go through that process. So you give the girl the opportunity to think, what do I write to this guy? Oh my God, what's going on? And actually get wrapped up in you and start chasing. And that's what you want. Okay, so that's why you don't want to be too nice after the shit test pass. So here, so then I do here. Say, sure, if by pickup line you mean casual flirtation with an intriguing girl, then maybe. This is a really good format, by the way, for live and online for passing shit tests. If by X you mean Y. If by pickup line you mean psh. If by cocky you mean mind-blowingly amazing, then psh, right? If by X you mean Y. The girl seems pretty okay so far, so I give her a shit test back. She goes, haha, good one. Which wouldn't be much, but then she double messages me, which is really good. So what happened here, right? She's like, she doesn't know what to write, so she writes, haha, good one. And then she thinks about it. She's like, oh shit, maybe that wasn't good, maybe that wasn't good. She's getting angsty, double texts. Very good. And now she's chasing me. Are you European? You look Italian. She's asking me questions, asking you to know me. Now we're in good shape, right? So this has now become very positive. All right, LOL, I'm actually American, but thanks, are you adventurous? Right? Normally I might not do, are you adventurous? But I was trying to close quickly because I was leaving town. So I needed to have it move forward quickly. So are you adventurous is a question that if it gets a positive response, I can close quickly. So that's the reason I asked that there. Are you adventurous? I'm adventurous. What about you? What brought you to Oz? So this is very positive. I'm adventurous, meaning yes to your question, and also I'm down for adventure, asking more questions about me. So now it's time to close. And then even to make it even more positive, she double texts again. So I'm from Colorado originally. The company does a lot of business in Australia. How do you feel about asking one of the questions over drinks and soft lighting rather than the glare of a computer screen? Right. So again, sort of a soft close. It's not saying let's do X at this time, this day, etc. It's in general, how do you feel about the theoretical, vague possibility of X? And then once they've agreed to the vague possibility, then you can go more solid. Yeah?
Would you say it's necessary to say your company's not sure? Is that kind of like qualify yourself? Or like, can it be bad sometimes?
Which part? What are you talking about?
Say that originally the company does a lot of business in Australia. Like,
Are you saying it sounds like I'm...
does it sound like you're bragging or like you're trying to like show value?
Oh, what I was trying to do really here was I was trying to just like give a legitimate reason for being there and a legitimate reason for the idea that is not necessarily just a hookup. Right? Like even if it ends up being just a hookup and she's definitely going to get that idea from other things in my profile, I wanted to like have the idea that like at least there's a possibility, at least like it's not like I'm never coming back to Australia again, right? Yeah, just a little bit of softening. That's the reason for that. And then yeah, so again, soft close. Drink sounds good. I love Colorado. Went to breakfast street Christ. Then again, same exact message. Sounds good. My number's this. What's yours, Todd? Phone number. So easy, straightforward. Huh? I did. I did actually. I did a video of 3 dates in Sydney. This is actually one of the dates that I videotaped. Yep. So yeah, so it was all very, very good and very straightforward. One quick last comment. The my number is this, what's yours? By doing that, I get a much higher response rate than if I say, what's your number? Because it's like reciprocation. Like it's like, here's something I'm doing for you, now do something back, instead of saying, do something for me. I don't know why exactly, but I did it that way, and I found that in the tough situations, I would get probably about twice as many actual positive responses and phone numbers than if I just said, what's your number? So in general, if they really like you, it doesn't matter, they just respond positively. But in the ones where you're like kind of like, I don't know if I should even close this one yet, if you write it that way, you get a response about twice as often, so it's worth doing. All right? So that's a little bit about online messaging.